Welcome to the Intangibles Podcast.
Los Intangibles.
We're back again on this Friday afternoon episode of the Intangibles Podcast. A lot of things have been going on since we're gone. That episode dropped Tuesday morning. If you haven't listened to that, make sure you go back and download after you're finished with this episode, of course. But I'm here, your host, Graham Simpson of the Intangibles Podcast. Alongside me, as always, my co-host and dear lifelong friend, Connor Pedersen, Warner Wetterson, the W King, Mr. Oh My Days, the second longest podcast intro in history. Connor, how you doing, man?
I can't complain. Clemson's treating me well, brother.
This is our third episode from Zoom. We're enjoying ourselves with our distant podcast, but we're still grinding out episodes, and we want to give a big shout out. You guys can find us on the Blue Collar Media group on their Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you follow them, and you can now follow us. We now have a Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, shout out to you. Speaking of watching on YouTube, Connor, you have a picture of a garbage bin behind you. Do you want to explain? John Wall.
Trade him.
So John Wall, you're implying John Wall is a garbage can.
Yeah.
Just him, like his basketball skills or his contract?
More the contract. I mean, the basketball skills are good, but
yeah,
they've been bad since he got back from the knee injury.
Hasn't played in 2 years, but yeah. So we have John Wall dressed as a garbage can behind Connor, the depressed Wizards fan. But if you're on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, leave a 5-star. We're now on Amazon Music. We're now on TuneIn Radio. You could ask your Alexa to play the Intangibles Podcast, and she'll spit us right out. You got the Deezer app, YouTube, as we mentioned. We're on pretty much every major platform you can find a podcast. So if you're wanting something to do in the future, you can email us at the intangiblespod@gmail.com, and you'll be put on a special list where you can get the episodes around 6 to 12 hours in advance before they drop. So you do not want to miss that. So you can join the email gang. So you will never miss out. You'll be in the loop with all our Blue Collar Media live shows and the Intangibles Podcast. Never miss an episode. But we got some headlines today. Headlines today are brought by Thrive Fantasy Football. Connor, tell them more about it.
Thrive Fantasy Football. It's the newest fantasy game that takes the hours of work to find that diamond in the rough out of the equation. It's just best on best. They also have prop betting and everything else you need to not just survive the gambling experience, but to thrive in it. Deposit $20 and get it matched by entering the code BCMG. That is Thrive Fantasy Football. Again, enter the code BCMG to get your $20 matched.
So you're telling me if I go to Thrive Fantasy Football and I make a deposit, but I type in the code BCMG, it will get matched. So it's virtually free.
Darn right.
It's free. You're missing out on free fantasy football gambling. It's the perfect, in between of the, extreme FanDuel game time decisions and the relaxed, local Yahoo fantasy league. So you guys do not want to miss out on that. But thank you for Thrive Fantasy Football for sponsoring our headlines for this episode. Let's get into our headlines. Billy Donovan hired as Bulls head coach. Bulls fans didn't know how to react at first. It's kind of settling in for them. There's a lot of Bulls fans on the timeline that probably would have rathered other coaches, but they got Billy Donovan. And if I'm a Bulls fan, I'm very happy.
Yeah, for sure. Billy Donovan's a magnificent coach. He's done a lot with the Thunder, been there for a while, and had a lot of success with great players such as KD and Russell Westbrook and even James Harden. So we know that he's capable of turning a team around and creating a playoff winning culture.
No doubt. We're going to get into that discussion more later on in the episode. The Nuggets steal a game from the Lakers. It's now 2-1 in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers. That game 4 is actually going on right now as we're recording. So we'll give you guys live feedback. Yeah. Of course, you'll know the outcome of the game when this episode is out. But we're going to talk about game 3. So now the Lakers either make it 2-2, or they're up 3-1 against the Nuggets, which is probably worse than being 2-2.
Yeah.
But
No kidding.
Miami take a commanding lead. They're one game away from the NBA Finals. They play great basketball. And this is one, we've seen this. There's been a flurry of rumors all over your Twitter, Instagram timelines. James Harden to the Sixers via trade. We'll get into that and much, much more. But first, let's talk about Denver stealing the game from the Lakers. It was a game of runs, and that's for sure. We saw Denver were up by 20 in the fourth quarter, and that got cut to 3 within a matter of minutes. And LeBron, you sent me a text right as the fourth quarter was starting. He was like, I expect LeBron to propel his team back into this game. And you were right. What did you see from LeBron, and why weren't the Lakers able to win this game after the 19-3 run they went on?
Jamal Murray contributed so much late in the game. It just made it hard for the Lakers to take it away. Jamal Murray's just a freak of nature. He's a heck of a ball player. He makes big plays when it counts, and he's so much fun to watch. But like I said, Braun, he did take over. 14 of 23 from the field. That's unrivaled.
That's very
That's
good.
Incredible. 30 points off of that. Only shot 2 free throws, went 1 of 2, which is really shocking from LeBron because you expect him to shoot at least 6 to 10 free throws a game. He had a triple-double, 30, 10 boards, 11 assists. He was defensively present as always with 2 steals and 2 blocks. But one stat that could be better is 6 turnovers. He's got
6 turnovers last game too. And
so we
criticized him there. We criticized him there last game too. So the turnovers are going to be there just because he is trying to be the lead playmaker. But
right, exactly.
Give us your take on Anthony Davis. Of course, he played well. Both LeBron James and Anthony Davis played well, but there was a huge drop off after those two. Speak more about the Lakers' depth, and it really cost them this game.
It did, and when AD's only getting 2 boards in a game, you're never going to win. A big guy like AD's got to get in and get at least 7 to 10 boards a game, because he's massive. He's got to be towering over everybody, with the exception of Jokic, and he's got to be playing harder on the boards and contributing there a little bit more. Now I will say, scoring 27 points, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. You'll never get mad about that. So he contributed in other ways, but like I said, got to be better on the boards. You expect more from Morris. Kuzma was a lot better than I expected. Dwight Howard's got to be better. In 14 minutes, I expect him to have more than 1 rebound. Rondo, he's a guy that I expect in 30 minutes to put up about 12 to 15 points. He got 9, 4 of 10 from the field. Not great, not bad. It's good enough. 8 assists, that's what I expect from Rondo. 8 to 10 assists a game, especially when you're playing 30 minutes. Caruso, that's a guy I expect who's playing 25 minutes. He's got to have more of an impact on the game than he did last game. Only chipping in 2 points, 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. Just an uncharacteristically low-scoring night for Alex Caruso. Again, though, he was solid on defense, had 2 steals. But I expect more from Caruso.
Looking like Daniel Tice out there.
Exactly, yeah. Except I feel like Tice has more of an impact on the game.
Yeah,
it's
but
just
numbers
it's
wise.
nothing that's exactly numbers wise. It's like Tice, except Tice was better.
Yeah.
But I expect more from Morris, Caruso, and Howard for sure.
A player that I thought played better than what the stat line says is Rondo. Rondo was great in the pick and roll with Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis got majority of his 27 points off assists from Rondo. Rondo had 8 assists, and I felt like he could have had more because Kyle Kuzma was missing shots. Danny Green, KCP, Alex Caruso were missing shots, all from Rondo passes. Rondo could have easily had 15 assists in this game, and that seriously, it would have won them the game. But you said Jamal Murray was the reason why they lost, and you can't make an argument against that. Jamal Murray was excellent. He had the 2 most emphatic plays we've seen from that series, the explosive dunk that started the run, which put him up 20 points dang near, and he had that 3 in the face of AD, and he knocked it down. It was a heat check 3. It was a horrible shot. Don't get me wrong, it was a bad shot,
Yeah,
and he took it with confidence and made it, and that was the dagger. Like it took all the life out of the Los Angeles Lakers, and you got more power to Jamal Murray, and that's what he had to do, and he has done that. I don't understand how we have questions about Jamal Murray after this, because Jamal Murray has shown us that he is elite, and I expect him to be an all-star in a loaded Western Conference next year. I expect him to make
sure.
an all-NBA team, and Denver's going to be here for a long time. We said it. Denver has the brightest future of any team in the NBA, and they're gonna be a household name. And if they can keep building what they've got 2 young stars. They remind me a lot of the 76ers, because I feel like the 76ers could have this success if Ben Simmons were healthy and Joel Embiid were healthy at the same time. And I love watching this team. One of my favorite teams to watch in the NBA. And like I've said, Jamal Murray is excellent, and he's going to have a heck of a season next year if he carries his momentum.
Yeah. And going back to what you said, we were texting about this. You said, I feel like Rondo and AD are going to set the tone for the rest of the game with their 2-man game because they play so well together. Rondo is such a good playmaker for AD and opens up a lot of scoring opportunities for him. But LeBron, when it comes down to it, most of the time, I'd say probably 75% of the time, he's going to take over and do his thing. And we saw him do that and come up just short because Jamal Murray hit some emphatic shots, like you said. Jeremy Grant, MVP for the Nuggets, no doubt last night, or 2 nights ago, excuse me.
Yeah, I love watching him play because he guarded AD or LeBron the entire night. Don't get me wrong, he was great. 26 points. He had 3 rebounds, 1 assist. His plus minus wasn't good. His field goal percentage is good. His 3-point percentage is good. Box score does not do him justice at all. The intangible, what we love, the intangible, that doesn't show up on the box score. 10 of 12 from the free throw line. That is so good especially from a player like Grant, who's playing that small forward, power forward role and guarding 2 of the best players, 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. Props to Jeremy Grant. If he can replicate that right now, because what we've heard is Anthony Davis is absolutely feasting in the first quarter. So Denver would need Jeremy Grant in a big way tonight. We're gonna get to that game once we have more knowledge of it when we bring up the box scores. But Jokic, I mean, you got to give Jokic credit. 10 rebounds. He did his thing. Jamal Murray was great on the rebounds. He had 8 boards. I mean, I even said that Jamal Murray was 2 rebounds away from a triple-double. After everything he did, 28 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds. Incredible stat line. And you really can't take anything away from Jamal Murray. I think Michael Porter Jr. Was good. He was, all of his points came in the first half. He had 2 3-pointers, and he was 5 of 7 from the field. He had one 3-pointer, and he was 4 of 6. His 1 3-pointer set off the run in the first half. It was a tightly contested game in the first quarter, and then he hit that 3 in the face. I think it was of Kyle Kuzma, and the Lakers never led the rest of the game. And
one thing I want to point out, the Denver Nuggets out-rebounded the Los Angeles Lakers 44-25. 44-25. How often do you see a team win a game when they're out-rebounded by that much? You don't. You typically don't. So, Denver did their part on the boards, and they came through in the clutch. The game really shouldn't have gotten as close as it did, but I mean, you're playing LeBron James, the greatest player in this era of basketball, in the modern era, I guess. But AD, going back to it, you got to have at least 8 boards out of him. You got to have at least 8. And like you said, the Lakers had no depth.
Yeah, and the Lakers, the depth showed. And, when Dwight has, when he's going against Mason Plumlee as the backup, and he only had 1 board. I mean, it's there's no excuse. But again, you do have LeBron James, so anything is possible in a playoff game. Paul Millsap got his first win against LeBron James. He was 0 of 10 previously in the playoffs against LBJ, and he got his first win. Paul Millsap, again, he didn't play great, shot terribly, but
rebounded well.
He did rebound very well. Had him 6 more rebounds than Anthony Davis, if that's telling you anything. He's he needs to block more shots because I feel like he's worried about getting fouled or getting a foul called on him. So I think he's a little hesitant, and I think he could block a lot of shots because when JaVale McGee or Dwight or Anthony Davis get an offensive rebound, they don't look to go to a guard. They're ready to put the ball back up. And I feel like if he would contest that shot more, because it's a pretty soft tip in, to tell you the truth, or offensive rebound and get it back, it's pretty soft and it's slow. And I think if he was just there and ready to block shots, didn't matter if he got dunked on or got a foul called on him, Denver could win this series. I mean, pretty easily. I mean, that's weird to say. They could run the table, and no doubt if Paul Millsap shows up, but I don't think he will. That's just not his style of play. Gary Harris played well. I like Gary Harris. His energy is amazing. They missed that throughout the bubble.
Monte Morris and Torrey Craig.
I haven't even gotten into Monte Morris. Monte Morris was so surprisingly good. He came in the first quarter, and he was just there to give Jamal Murray a rest. And he played better. And his play elevated Jamal Murray's play, and Jamal Murray's play elevated Jokic's play. It all stems from Monte Morris having 14 points off the bench in 19 minutes. You got to understand that. 14 points in 19 minutes against a playoff game against two of the top 5 players in the NBA. Phenomenal. Any last thoughts on this game? As we're going to come back to this series in a little while after we talk about Celtics Heat on the live game that's going on right now. But any last thoughts on this game?
Just one last thought with Torrey Craig, Michael Porter Jr. Torrey Craig, I don't think he's getting as much recognition, but he had a great game. Considering he got 6 boards in 15 minutes, he had a -5 plus-minus. I'm not going to say that's bad because when you get 6 boards in 15 minutes, chip in 2 points, and get a steal, you can't be mad with that. That's good. That's what you expect from a role player like Torrey Craig. Michael Porter Jr., again, coming out, chipping in 9 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. I could expect more of a scoring output from him in Game 4. But that's really all I got. I definitely think Michael Porter Jr. can play a bigger role than he did. But 4-6 from the field, you're going to live with that.
Shout out to Torrey Craig, South Carolina born
SC,
and raised.
baby.
SC, baby. Like you said, those are your last thoughts. And I completely agree with you. They don't get as much recognition. And Michael Porter Jr. was so good in the first half, particularly. He did not play well. He did not play well in the second half. But he didn't really need to because they were up the entire time. And he's one of those players that when the game's tight, he can make a shot out of nowhere and make something out of nothing. So he's one of those type of players right now. I feel like next year when he's more comfortable, he's still a rookie. This is his first season. Next year as a sophomore, he can really feel comfortable, get plays for him in the offense, really gel with Murray and Jokic. So we're going to move on to the Celtics-Miami Heat series. Miami Heat. No one saw this coming. We were all heavy. We were heavy on the Raptors and the Bucks. And we talk about the keys to Miami. I want to get your in-depth opinion of, how is this happening for Miami? I don't want to say they come out of nowhere, but it's something we didn't expect. And what's really knocked the media in the face? Because the media loves Giannis and they love the Raptors. What's really gave them a slap in the face? What has Miami done different to the other teams?
Tyler Herro has slapped the media in the face. He got all NBA rookie second team, and he's proving why he should have been first team. The dude just 37 points off the bench. It's undefeated. How do you beat somebody when they've got somebody coming off the bench and scoring 37? They had 4 players in double figures. They only played 8. So heavy minutes all around for the most part. But when you've got Jimmy Butler, Bam, Crowder, who I think is a great role player who struggled last night, Dragic, who can get hot very easily, and Duncan Robinson the same, a veteran in Iguodala, and a young stud who is unfazed by media and anything else in Tyler Herro. When you've got a team like that, it's hard to beat somebody with that much talent.
All right, I'm gonna stop you there.
Go
Let's
for
talk
it.
about Tyler Herro for a second.
What a guy.
We're talking about a 20-year-old rookie, came into the season 19 years old, lives in South Beach, Miami, not at the legal drinking age, in South Beach, Miami. He has been unfazed by pressure from Miami, their fans, a diehard, hardcore fan base they have there, and they put it on their players if they're not performing. That's number one. Number two, he hasn't been any type of controversy as we've seen young players go. A young player to Miami has kind of destroyed many players' career just because of so many distractions. He's been focused. Number three, he has a great relationship with his team. He gels with his team. He doesn't try to be something he's not, and he knows his role, and he knows when he has the green light, he can go off for 37, like we saw.
And he
Tyler
could put up
Herro,
21 shots.
exactly, and 5 of 10 from the 3-point line, from behind the arc. That's 50%. 4-4 from the charity strike. We're talking about a big-time player with 6 rebounds, 3 assists, just 1 turnover, and 1 foul. I mean, this is the type of guy next year, maybe not next year, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, you could see him going a Steph Curry type run. I'm not going to put it past him. I mean, like he's been hot for 2 games now in a Eastern Conference final, trying to get to the finals. They now have a clear advantage of getting to the finals, and he's a rookie. I don't want to say he's leading this team, but he's leading this team. Like, offensively, he's so good, and the Celtics just simply don't have an answer for it.
I have a question for you. So you compared him to Steph. Is he Steph or is he Clay? Is he complimenting Jimmy Butler or, like a Bam? Is he complimenting somebody? Or is he going to be the star?
He's, because he has a handle to him. If you watch the games, he's playing point guard. He's playing point guard. I don't want to say he's a Steph. I want to say he's more of a James Harden, right-handed James Harden maybe, without this, because he doesn't take as many step backs, but he doesn't limit his game, just to – because he has a taller stature than Steph Curry, way better defender than Steph Curry. You can't really compare Tyler Herro right now. I don't really see someone that's a combo guard that has the perfect amount of dribbling ability, able to get steals, finesse around the rim, great free throw shooter. I mean, there's literally
shot off the dribble.
We're gonna see there's gonna be a mold of Tyler Herros to come, because this is where it's headed. I mean, Devin Booker would be a player. There's other players that I can think of, like how John Wall kind of fathered your garbage man. Like
I'd say John Wall prime. Wall prime.
Like I know John Wall kind of birthed the like a De'Aaron Fox or a John Morant or a Kendrick Nunn, but when I think about Devin Booker, I mean, there's no one really like Kobe. I don't want to say he's Kobe. I don't want to say that, because that's
but I see what you're pressure. Saying.
But he's the perfect combo guard, perfect amount of defense. He can shoot from any spot on the floor, and he can get hot.
Yeah, I like your Kobe comparison. I really do. I'm not saying Tyler Herro is going to be the next Kobe, but he's got the all-around game that is so similar to Kobe. Like, they may not play the exact same with the style, or played the exact same with the same style and all that, but Tyler Herro all around, he can handle the ball, he can pass, he's good off the dribble, and he's good attacking the basket. He's got some good finesse. He can finish very well. We saw him hit a nice little runner, bank shot on the left side. His game it's beautiful. It is so fun to watch. It's really a treat for all basketball fans.
He's phenomenal on the pin down screen, catch and shoot.
Yep.
He's phenomenal on the boards. Great energy. He's in the passing lanes. He can get steals here and there. He's not afraid to contest a shot on defense or foul somebody if needed. He's a physical player. He's not going to let anybody get in his face. He's not soft by any means. He's outperforming Jimmy Butler. and Goran, and he's gotten great guidance from people like Goran or Andre Iguodala and Jimmy Butler, who's the leader of this team. Jimmy Butler wore a Tyler Herro high school jersey to practice today. They love each other. Their unity is something like we were high on the Toronto Raptors on being.
Yes.
And they're being everything the Toronto Raptors couldn't.
They are. Yeah.
I really love this Miami team.
They're what we expected Toronto to be. They're exactly what we expected.
Behind me on my Zoom green screen, I have Jimmy Butler in a 76ers uniform along with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid because I miss this team, man. I really do miss Jimmy Butler, part of Philly, and it pains me to watch him. He's going to go to the finals with Miami, and what could have been. It pains me every day. But I really love watching this team. I during quarantine I watched a lot of reruns of our Nets series we had with this team. I watched, Jimmy Butler's first game where he hit the step back jumper. I've watched a lot of this team, and this is my favorite. This era right here, the 3 months we had with Jimmy and Tobias and Ben and Joel, was my favorite, part of being a Philly fan. And it's just hard. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous of Jimmy Butler. Let's talk about Boston. What are you gonna say?
Let's do it. I was just gonna say one thing Tyler Herro has that has been contagious to the rest of the team has been his swag. He's played with swag.
I couldn't have said it better. Let's give your take on Boston before I go on my little tangent. I want to talk about Jaylen Brown in particular. He's good. He's a very good player. He can play very good, but when he plays mediocre, the stat line, hates him. He's the type of guy that the stats hate. The stat hater of the world is Daniel Tice. The stats absolutely, they hate Daniel Tice, and it's just numbers. The numbers hate Daniel Tice. He can't get away from bad numbers, but he makes an impact. Jaylen Brown makes an impact. Does their impact doesn't show on the box score as much as they should, but we should have an intangible meter. A meter of how they affected their team, because Jaylen Brown in 40 minutes had 21 points, 8 of 14, 57% from the field. He was 57% from three. He was 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, but he had 4 turnovers and was in foul trouble. How did Jaylen Brown affect the Celtics team?
I don't think he affected them negatively as much as Jason Tatum did.
In the first half.
Yes, Jason Tatum in the first half was as bad as I've ever seen him, which, he's had games like that. He's been inconsistent, but we expect him to be good in the playoffs because that's all he's been. He put up 28 on 22 shots. I'm expecting a little bit better. Got to be better from 3, 4 of 11. I really feel like he had more of a negative impact in the first half than Jaylen Brown did the entire game. Jaylen Brown could definitely be better. Like you said, 4 turnovers. But the highest turnover stat goes to Jason Tatum with 6. Now, he did contribute elsewhere. He was very good on defense, had 3 blocks and a steal. So, obviously, you're not going to be mad about his first half and the 3 he hit to cut it to 3 points with, I think, 1.1 seconds left in the game. So, he at least made it somewhat of a game. But turnover-wise, they got to be better. 19 turnovers to the Heat's 8. You're not going to win many games when you're turning the ball over 19 times and not turning the other team over in double digits.
I couldn't have said it better, Connor. Right there was ginormous. Another player I want to talk on is Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart fouled out of this game
and was not good.
He was not good on the defensive on the offensive side. Excuse me. Defensively, he was Marcus Smart. He was being a pest. He was everything we expect Marcus Smart to be. It's expected now, so we don't really talk about it. Connor, let's just go over his shooting performance. Let's get your take first. His percentages are god awful. If you want to do the honors.
what's that, 25%, the quick math from the field?
20,
Am I right?
20, 25% from the field, 3 of 12, and you go behind the arc, 1 of 8. That's 12.5%.
And he's been hot from three most of this series, putting up 20-plus points in the last couple of games. And then he goes down to 10 points in 36 minutes with 4 turnovers and fouling out of the game. But he had 11 assists. So that sort of counteracts the assist-turnover margin. But still, 4 turnovers, you're never going to be happy with that. Somehow he got a double-double. Good on you. But we expect more from Marcus Smart as a leader of this team. I expect him to be better offensively the way the past few games have gone. So obviously disappointing for the Celtics.
Yeah, it was disappointing in a sense that defensively he was really good, but that's just Marcus Smart. That's who he is. He is a really good defender. So, everybody knows that. If you've listened to our show, we love Marcus Smart and what he does on the defensive side of the ball. And offensively, he's been hot, and he can go through cold stretches. And we know that. We've seen that over the past 4 years for the Celtics. He has been hot and cold, but his defense has always been there. His defense won't win them this series. It's been shown. If he has a bad offensive outing, it'll be costly. If he fouls out, it'll be costly. If Kemba Walker had 5 assists, he needs more. I mean, Marcus Smart can't be taking Kemba Walker's assists. It's good that Marcus Smart had 11, but Kemba only has 5. Kemba's the type of guy I need 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 from. And Daniel Tice, again, he had 9 rebounds, which is great for Daniel Tice. Usually we see Tatum and Brown in the 10 to 14 area, sometimes even 16 rebounds a game.
And Tice had 8 points.
Which is more than his 4 that we usually see.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, but he only puts up 5 shots, though. So, I mean, Daniel Tice isn't that much of an impact. Defensively, he's decent. Offensively, he's underwhelming but effective, efficient when he does play. But with Marcus Smart, if he stays cold, the one player that will win the Celtics this series, as they come back, you just read my mind. Gordon Hayward. How did you do it again, Connor? You said it. Let's talk Gordon Hayward, man. You said you loved him last game.
I love Gordon Hayward. He's a great player.
I didn't think he was very efficient last game, and you said that you liked how he played.
I liked what I saw.
Yeah, you liked what you saw. I liked what I saw too, but that wasn't enough. When you got to pick up slack for these guys. He's a veteran leader. You got to pick up slack from Marcus, from Daniel Tice, from Brad. We're gonna talk about Robert Williams in a little bit. I already know I have a lot of time of Robert Williams finally getting
we always do.
But let's talk about Gordon Hayward. What did you see from Gordon out there last night?
I saw a guy who was only back for his second game since his ankle injury. And I saw a guy who came out and contributed what he needed to. So I expect him to step up in the next game just because he's getting comfortable again. You can see by his stat line, 14 points, 7 boards, 3 assists. It's better than last time, obviously. So I'm expecting him to put up maybe 20 points in the next game because he's that kind of player. We know he can do it. And I'm expecting Marcus Smart to come out and be better. I think Gordon Hayward's got the potential to really blow up in game 5. Sorry, the math is a little rough today.
You're good. You're good. Let's talk about this plus minus stat we love because it's the closest thing to an intangible we have.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're going to create an intangometer. So if it's a 10, he had a great impact on what the box score doesn't show. But if it's a 1, he was god-awful, as we like to say. The guys we love, our favorite players from the Boston Celtics, I'll give you a rundown, is Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, Marcus Smart, and Robert Williams. You know what they all have in common in this game? They had positive plus minuses. Those are our 4 guys we've loved since the show existed. they had positive plus minuses, and that's the closest thing we have to an intangible stat. Robert Williams, 50% from the field. He had 4 points in 12 minutes, a plus minus of positive 10. We've been telling you guys this. We have. We know. We saw it. From the moment he stepped up against Joel Embiid, we knew he was the real deal. We looked at each other and was like, man, if he plays more, Embiid might be in trouble. It didn't matter anyway because we suck without Ben. But I loved his energy. I loved his energy. That's something you can't teach. He has everything you can. He has everything you can't teach, and he's just a raw talent, and he's a very coachable kid. He loves the game of basketball. I've read something about him. He comes from a hardworking family. He had nothing given to him. Robert Williams is the type of guy that will just go out and give everything 100% of the time. And he's going to give everything he got. You know that from him. And that's the type of player I want to play. They didn't play Inez Cantor, and they played Robert Williams. They listened to me. No, I'm kidding.
Goodness.
Thank goodness. What do we say about Inez Cantor? He's playing catch-up. Inez Cantor plays catch-up.
He's an offensive player, but cannot play defense to save his life.
His defense is like it doesn't register. He's on a 2-second delay.
Is he ever playing defense?
No, he's on like a 3-second defensive delay.
He hits that 2K lag hard.
Yeah, he's on a 2K lag. Like he's playing in Australian servers in Orlando. But thank God they played Robert Williams. I want him 15 minutes.
I want to see more minutes for Grant Williams.
Yeah, he didn't play at all. I mean, he was great. He was fantastic in the last game, and he didn't play at all. I mean, it's just Brad Stevens has been weird with his rotations throughout the playoffs, and they've played teams like his Toronto series should have gone to 7, but his rotations, they didn't gel. They went on the Raptors went on 14-2 runs out of nowhere where they shouldn't have, when Boston felt like they had the game won. And so I feel like the rotations has a role to do with that. But I believe in Brad Stevens, and I think he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. And if there's anyone that can, other than Mike Malone, that can bring a team back from 3-1, it will be Brad Stevens. Any last takes from this series and heading into tomorrow's game?
Like I said, Grant Williams. Yeah, but I want to see Grant Williams get more minutes because we know he's talented. And he can give them some output on offense. And I think that he can be a good defensive player for them too. But like you said, honestly, I feel like this is one of the best coaching matchups. We had Nick Nurse versus Brad Stevens, and now we've got Brad Stevens versus Eric Spoelstra. I mean, that's two of the greatest coaching matchups we've had in a while.
Before Brad Stevens, he had the absolutely worst coaching matchup against Brett Clown. But
I love seeing the coaching side of things because they're great basketball minds, and what they do with their teams, it's phenomenal.
Warner Wetterson, son of Wevin Wetterson.
He only catches dubs.
We're going to get into before we get into the Los Angeles-Denver game that's happening right now, you guys know the outcome as this pod goes out. But let's talk about Billy Donovan hired as Bulls head coach. What was your initial thoughts when the Woj bomb came out?
It didn't surprise me at all, to be frank with you. I thought it was a great hire. Makes sense. Billy Donovan is a phenomenal coach, and they've got a lot of young talent for him to develop. I'm really looking forward to see what he can do with Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Kobe White, just to name a few. They've got a very bright future with Donovan at the helm.
I saw a piece on Philly Sports Today about how the Sixers dropped the ball. And it has a lot to do, why didn't the Sixers get Billy Donovan? Because, the Sixers can learn a few things from the Bulls. They had a clean sweep of their general manager, assistant general manager. They don't even have the same trainer anymore. And that's what Philly's not doing. Elton Brand is still at the helm. We still have corruptness in our owners and in our front office. We're still on a coaching search that we were told that it might take a while. But, we're seeing, Mike D'Antoni, we're not even high on his totem pole. You know, he's expected to go to New Orleans or Indiana or OKC. And, you know, Billy Donovan, we were supposed to have a meeting set up with him. Why would he go to the Bulls instead of coaching Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid? We're like the coaching free agency paradise, as Elton Brand said. That's a direct quote. And I don't understand, like, why would he choose the Bulls over us? And there's only one explanation to that, to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it's because of our front office, and no one wants to coach for Elton Brand, to put it as simple as that.
Understandable. I completely get it, but I think he may have seen more of a promising future for himself with the Bulls, just because I think that the Sixers may have more of a trade piece in Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. Not to push your buttons, but I think that's sort of what we're seeing. Just speaking from the basketball GM standpoint, I think he may have seen maybe they trade Simmons or Embiid in the next couple of years.
And this is a business. It is.
Yeah.
Basketball general managing and ownership is a business. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you're a diehard of a team. But you have to understand, at the end of the day, they're trying to make the team better at all costs, or make them worse to get better in the future. So
sure.
For the Bulls, I don't understand why there was mixed emotions at first. Who would you rather have had than Billy Donovan, someone that has taken an OKC team from the dirt, out of Seattle? No one wanted them in OKC, and he brought them Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, and to be the youngest team in an NBA Finals. I mean, it's crazy just to think that. Also, one more point.
Go for
it. If Billy Donovan wins a championship with the Bulls, it might be the best hire of all time, and I'll tell you why. The Bulls, like I said, they did a clean sweep of their front office. Billy Donovan sees a promising and new ownership, new general managing. He can grow with this franchise. They have Zach LaVine. They have the second pick, or no, they had the fourth pick. They have the fourth pick. They have Kobe White. They have trade pieces like Laurie or Wendell. They're one piece away from free agency, and we're talking about Chicago. Like, this is a free agency destination.
Yeah.
And Billy Donovan is a coach that can get a free agent like Giannis, like someone like James Harden, maybe, a big wing, Kawhi Leonard, someone like that in a couple of years. And if I'm a Bulls fan, I'm ecstatic, and maybe that's just me because, I'm a jealous Philly fan. But, if I'm a Bulls fan, I'm ecstatic.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. So I do have a score for halftime, 60-55 LA.
So
interesting stat lines too.
It's a 5-point game. LA lead at half, so they are in command right now. Whoever's leading at half has a higher percent to win, especially in the playoffs. Connor has a stat for us. It looks like he's getting
Before
excited.
You look at the stat line, I want you to take a guess on the only player on the Lakers who has a double-double.
Probably Anthony Davis.
Dwight Howard.
Wow.
In 13 minutes. He has 11 points and 10 boards.
We just bashed him like 30 minutes ago.
In 13 minutes.
We got on his case for having one rebound. And now
he heard us.
We're playing through the loudspeakers in Orlando.
I swear.
I don't know how this podcast isn't even out yet.
We haven't even gotten into the special email group.
No. Somehow Dwight got it before the email gang.
Oh, my days.
Let's talk about Jeremy Grant. He seems to be having a good game. He's got 10 points, 1 of 3, 57% from the field. Paul Millsap hasn't done jack squat. Nikola Jokic needs to be better on the rebounds. He's only got 3. Jamal Murray was 16 points, 7 of 9 from the field. He hasn't hit his three-pointer, though.
My phone's been blowing up. He made some crazy move, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, Jamal Murray!" So I got to go back and watch that.
Yeah, so we got a crazy move from Jamal Murray. Torrey Craig has 2 points. Monte Morris with 4 points in 10 minutes. Michael Porter Jr. is 1 of 4 from the three. That's not promising, but he's 3 of 6 from the field, 7 points. Mason Plumlee is getting minutes. PJ Dozier yet to get minutes. Troy Daniels, Katie Bates, Diop Bobo all have not played yet. We want to see our boy PJ, but we have to do his best for the team.
AD has 19 points.
Yeah, let's talk about the Lakers.
He has 0 rebounds at halftime.
He doesn't want to play bully ball. I don't understand why.
He's the biggest man on the court.
Well, other than Dwight.
Right, but he's massive. He's played 18 minutes, and he's not gotten one single board. He may have 19 points, but how do you have no boards?
How do you only have a plus-minus of 2?
Yeah. I don't get
19 points and a half. I don't get it either.
I mean, they're winning, so whatever they're doing is working. Dwight Howard, whatever special stuff you put in your Gatorade from Space Jam, good stuff.
Whatever his shoulder workout routine is.
Gosh.
Danny Green, 0 points, 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 2 from the three-point line. KCP, 3 points, 1 of 4. Kyle Kuzma, 10 points, 4 of 10. Kyle Kuzma playing decent. He's 2 of 6, though, from behind the arc. Rondo has 3 assists, 0 points. Only played 8 minutes. We expected Rondo to have a lot more minutes. I guess they weren't happy with his play in the first one. Let's just give a quick rundown. Your thoughts on this complete roster of the Lakers.
I'm shocked KCP's played as much as he has, and Rondo hasn't played as much. Like I already covered my Anthony Davis tangent. Braun has a great stat line at half, 14, 4 boards, 5 assists. You got to be happy with that. 5 of 11 from the floor, 1 of 1 from 3. You're happy. He shot 4 free throws. He's attacking the rim, getting the foul calls. Good on you, Braun. We talked about Howard. He's been phenomenal so far. It's phenomenal. Gosh, Danny Green, terrible. Get him out of the game. KCP, get him out of the game. Give Rondo a chance to get hot.
I agree with you because I feel like if Rondo gets that chance to gel with AD in that 2-man game, AD can go off for 50 this game. He's already got almost 20, and if AD goes for 50, it's GG's, and the series is pretty much over. Actually, I take that back. It's going to be 3-1.
3-1. That's a dangerous lead with Denver.
Yeah. Like I said previously, you could go 2-2 or even worse, be up 3-1.
Don't tell Van Gundy that, though.
Yeah. We need to have Van Gundy. So we've had –
It's a commanding lead.
Takes a commanding lead. We need let's talk about Van Gundy on the show, please. Can we make this happen?
I mean, might as well. We're already on the topic.
Talk about polar opposites. Van Gundy talks about literally everything he doesn't believe in anything we talk about, like the plus-minus stat, the 2-for-1 at the end of the shot clock. Like he literally he would hate us. It would make for a great show, though.
It's crazy to me, him being a coach or a former coach, that he doesn't like the plus-minus stat or any efficiency stats, because I feel like those are the most telling stats that you can have. Because if you have somebody with a negative efficiency or a negative plus-minus on the court that's just woeful, that's going to kill your vibe. It's going to kill your team, going to kill your energy. So I feel like that's one of the most important stats in the game.
Is he a coach right now?
Not anymore.
That answers your question.
Analyst.
that answers your question. Why he's not a coach right now. Maybe that's why.
But I don't get it from a coach's stamp. Of course, maybe he's just caught up in the old era. Maybe that's what it is.
Speaking of coaches, let's talk about the Sixers' interest in Mike D'Antoni is due to belief he can lure James Harden to the team. Yes, as long as we don't give up Ben or Joel, I am in board. I shouldn't say this, but I'd probably give up Matisse. Oh, that pained me. But I might give.
You're gonna have to give up. You're gonna have to give up so many draft picks.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to give up the 22nd pick that we have this year. We would have to give up probably Josh Richardson, Matisse Thybulle, and Al Horford, and
maybe another draft pick.
3 firsts and a second.
That sounds about right.
James
It'd be worth it for Harden.
Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. It looks so good on paper. It does.
I don't see it happening, but if it happens, the Sixers are a force to be reckoned with. I don't see it happening, though.
I want you to elaborate on that. We'll go more in depth of what if you don't see it happening, but let's just do a what if. What if it does?
Okay, a little hypothetical action. Okay.
Yeah, hypothetical.
So, hypothetically speaking, James Harden goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. He runs the point. He's more of a combo guard now. You let Ben and him split touches, bringing the ball up the floor because Ben's such a good playmaker. Him and Ben set up Joel Embiid, or Ben sets up Embiid and Harden for all sorts of scoring opportunities. I think it's a fluid offense. I cannot imagine the scoring outputs and the assist totals for Ben Simmons. He would get so many assists just, dishing it out to Harden or dishing it to Embiid on a pick and roll.
And to me, the defense, that energy that would transfer from Ben Simmons to James Harden would be a life changer for James Harden. This could be another MVP year for James Harden playing along with Joel and Ben Simmons, because he's not really going to take away from anything. He's going to get a way better version of Clint Capella and someone that won't take shots away from him, will lock down on defense, and James Harden can go off ball. He won't have to ISO as much. He can catch and shoot. He can get to a spot, and they'll have to worry about other people. Because if Ben Simmons catches the ball and he gets 2 steps on you, full head of steam before you can set your feet, it's going to be a dunk.
Goodbye.
Or a lob, or the center will come over and he'll just lob it up to Joel. So it's gonna be fun to watch if it happens. I want it to happen. Do I think it will happen? I'll give it about a 10% chance.
Yeah, I think we're on the same
Mostly because I don't believe that Mike D'Antoni will be the coach of the 76ers. I would love for it, to be honest, because it would force our organization to bring in shooters, which James Harden would be amazing. But
no kidding.
Any more on this episode, Connor? We're probably gonna wrap things up. Before we wrap things up, first, you guys need to keep in touch with us through our email. DM us on Instagram and Twitter. We are the Intangibles Podcast. Connor set that up. You can tell more about our social media and our email gang, Con.
Oh yeah, email gang. You can DM us on Twitter or Instagram. Our Twitter at Intangibles_pod. It's beautiful. The cover art, just look at it. That blue collar media touch. It's beautiful. Just reach out to us, please, because you're gonna want this. I promise you. Instagram, same thing. Instagram, it's just the Intangibles Pod. Just look us up, DM us, we'll respond. I promise. We're not gonna be hoarse or coarse,
Yeah.
We love our podcast family, and we are growing, and we love that you guys are helping us do that. We're so appreciative and thankful for our podcast family.
Surpassed 500 downloads. Shout out to you guys. That's where we're going to end the show. Shout out Blue Collar Media. Thank you, Thrive Fantasy Football, for sponsoring our headlines today's show. Again, DM us on Instagram. You can DM me personally or Connor personally if you can't find our Intangibles Instagram and Twitter. But
I know my at is the exact same, CPAT_4.
Yeah, so. And you guys have a nice one. Have a nice evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you're listening. Just make sure you download this podcast. Give it a 5 stars. If you're at this point, you must have liked something. So just go ahead and rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Tell your friends. Share this to your neighbor, your coworkers, your friends, your school friends, everybody.
Your teachers that like the NBA, PE teachers.
They're rare nowadays, but
history teachers,
anybody. Your grandma, your father, anybody, your little sister.
Yeah, we'll take anybody into the podcast family with open arms.
That's where we're gonna wrap things up today. Again, shout out Blue Collar Media. Shout out to Thrive Fantasy Football, saying so long from our studio in South Carolina and Connor and Clemson. Peace.